These locals are adding to the wave of black women-led political power. An article written by Quinci Legardye, July 19, 2019. Crenshaw native Mariah Watson got her first take of policymaking early on. She was a senior in high school when she attended a youth and government program at the Clover Palms Family YMCA. It was a model of the California legislature where students would propose bills for a vote. We were tasked to develop a policy that changed something that was relevant for California and the nation, Watson says. It was the first time that I had articulated what I wanted my brother's experience to be, being a formerly incarcerated man. So, it was about how we could begin to address recidivism, make it easier for men coming home to stay home, and help them feel like they were part of a community again. Out of 400 proposals, hers was one of the 30 to make it to the final round. My final speech before they voted on the bill was completely about my brother, about being in Los Angeles, being a black family dealing with all the effects of post-incarceration, Watson says. It passed unanimously, even though it didn't actually change the law. It definitely solidified what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be as I continued to grow. Now, 7 years later, Watson is preparing to attend Harvard Law School in the fall. Her previous position as a policy associate at Restore Justice, a nonprofit that works with law and government officials to reform the criminal justice system, allowed her to work directly on sentencing reform. In fact, last spring, she completed a tour of California prisons with the nonprofit where she trained incarcerated men on how to petition for resentencing under Senate Bill 1437. The bill, which went into effect on January 1st, amended California's felony murder rule so that only people who commit or intend to commit a killing can be prosecuted for felony murder. Previously, defendants could be charged with first-degree murder if a death occurred while committing another crime, regardless of intent. Watson is one of many young black women in L.A. who have dedicated their careers to serving the people of this sprawling city. These young women have been inspired by trailblazers on the local and national stage, including Kamala Harris, the second black woman to ever run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination, and Maxine Waters, 15-term congresswoman and chair of the House Financial Services Committee. Then there's Aisha Brown, who's been serving as the mayor of Compton since she was elected in 2013. At 31 years old, she became the city's youngest mayor. Assemblywoman Sydney Legardye is another rising political star. She represents California's 54th district, which includes Culver City, the Crenshaw district, and Westwood. Since she was elected in 2018, Legardye has passed and supported legislation aimed at alleviating poverty and advancing criminal justice reform. Her dedication to Los Angeles began shortly after the L.A. riots in 1992, when she worked with the nonprofit Rebuild L.A. to help the most affected communities. Working for Rebuild L.A. was almost like being a census worker for me, because I was going throughout South L.A., meeting with community groups and residents and learning their stories, Legardye says. It was great to see that there are folks doing the activist work of healing and building and making sure that resources are coming to the community. She has maintained that community engagement since then, recently serving as District Director for California State Senator Holly Mitchell and a president of the LA Community College District Board of Trustees. Now that she has a more public platform, Legardye uses her visibility to empower black women. Representation might be overused, but it's still very powerful. Legardye says, when you see folks that look like you, then the road that they take feels less scary. No one ever wants to be the first. No one ever wants to be the last. And so the only way to not have those things happen is by getting out there and showing folks that it can be done, and holding out your arms to embrace them onto the journey with you. When speaking to the next class of black women who want to work in politics, Legardye points out the importance of being involved in all levels of government. Black women need to see this and say, well, how did she get there? She She didn't get there on her own. Does she have a campaign manager? Could I do that? Also, what about education? What about being a judge? Legardye says, so, I hope that black women see me and see all of the opportunities and not just the one path that I'm on. Because we need black women running for all kinds of office. And we need black women helping other black women run for office. She also calls out the importance of making sure that the many different communities in Los Angeles keep communicating their needs, something she says was lost during the LA riots. We were seeing what happens when the city kind of stops talking to itself. It seemed like folks on the west side weren't that concerned with what was going on in South LA, or East LA, or Central LA. Legardye says, adding that Los Angeles is still very segregated. How can Los Angeles bridge that racial divide? You do that by running for office, she says. The Los Angeles African American Women's Public Policy Institute is one of the organizations currently working to educate black women on how to affect change on the local and state levels. The executive director, Joy Atkinson, leads the 10-week intensive program and intended to provide black women with the tools they need to influence public policy and run political campaigns. We teach them everything: how to communicate, how to work with media, how a public policy issue is addressed if it's a local, state, or federal issue, and the leadership development, Atkinson says. I would say in the last 16 years that we have been a class that every major African American politician has come through to teach our class and to talk about the experience in politics. Their alumni include Inglewood Unified School District Board member Diane Falk and Sherilyn Carrera, Director of Planning and Economic Development for LA. City Council member Karen Price. Legardye is an alumni herself and keeps in touch with women who have completed the program after her to provide guidance as someone who understands what they are going through. After all, Legardye has her own mentor to thank for showing her how to navigate the world of politics without stumbling along the way or compromising herself. Senator Mitchell helps show me the importance of being able to stand firmly in who you are, she says. It's about learning who you are and building strength in who you are so that you can accomplish the goals that you have and tackle all of the obstacles that are in your way. Watson might just be getting started in her career, but she also recognizes her place in continuing the wave of black women political power, of which she is now part of. I think that right now there is this acknowledgement that black women have been speaking for years, that they have been trying to educate people for years, Watson says. We have been relevant, we have been talking, and now people are starting to notice the advent of hashtags like #TrustBlackWomen. People are starting to look at the way that black women are voting at a national level, who they are supporting, where they are drawing the line, and saying we are not going to support the same candidates doing the same old thing. We are having this reawakening. To quote Auntie Maxine, we are reclaiming our time, and I think that that's important. Thank you so much to Quinci Legardye for writing this beautiful article. I've seen my friend Mariah Watson on the cover, and I just wanted to read this article and put it out there and share it with you all. Thank you so much. God bless you. Stay safe.